Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome, everyone. So good to see all of you. I see Singh. I see Habibullah. I see Abdallah. Let me see. Who else do we have here? We have 19 registrants, 20 registrants. Maybe we'll give them a few more moments to arrive. I'm Lorraine Best. Singh, can we hear from you, Singh or Abdallah or Habibullah? Would you like to take a moment and say a few words? Where are you from? You can unmute yourself, Habibullah. Can you
Hello.
with us? Do you have your video? Can you turn your video on?
Yeah, actually, I'm traveling. So, can you listen me?
Yes, I can hear
Actually,
you.
I have a bit poor connection. So this is why if I can speak, that will listen everybody. Otherwise, my video will not.
Okay,
That will affect. Yeah. Sorry for that.
no problem.
Well, yeah, my name is Habib, and I'm from Pakistan. I joined this folk to uh, polish my English fluency. I'm looking forward to meet you and listen you and share my thoughts with you. Yeah, that's all. That's it about me. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thank you. Abdallah, can you share a few words or sing? If you would open up your chat. So I think that's Singh in the chat who says, hey, I'm from Nepal, currently living in Japan. It's nighttime, so I can't really turn on my video or audio. Okay, understood. We've got Shingo. Hello, Shingo. Would you like to share a few words with us, Shingo? Mariah's here. Great to see you, Mariah. Hello. Mariah, would you like to share a few words with us? If you can unmute yourself. Do you see where you unmute yourself? Let's see. How about there you go. Whoops. You were unmuted there for just a moment. Try that again.
Oh, sorry, I lost my internet connection.
Okay.
I joined this room today as a part of an online class that I'm taking in the university, and I chose this Zoom out of um, many options because I really empathize the importance of English language skills. I also study in English and I want to improve it more. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. So how do you call yourself? Abdallah? Do you go by Muhammad or Abdallah or something else?
Mohammed,
Muhammad? Okay. Okay. And where did you say you are?
I am from Egypt.
From Egypt. Okay. Okay. And Mariah has popped out again. Um, maybe internet connections are are not completely. There's Mariah again. Okay. There's Mariah. Mariah, do you want to say a few words? Can you unmute yourself? Perhaps write in the chat. Let's try that. Can everyone write in the chat your name? Put in the chat your name and where you are. What country are you from? Or what country are you in at the moment? I'm in the United States. I'm in the state of Florida, about 2 hours from Disney. I'm in the Eastern time zone, the same time zone as New York City. It's the morning here. It's almost midday here. So, okay, well, it's 11:08. Let's get started. As I said, it's really so great to see all of you here today. And I want to congratulate all of you on taking the first step in the next level in your English language learning journey. So a big round of applause for all of you for making this bold step today. Way to go. I am so happy to be able to share my message with all of you today. Today, we're going to talk about the 4 pillars for creating your personal pathway to success in mastering English. And today, each of you will have the opportunity to join me for a free one-to-one session where we will do a quick assessment and target learning goals so that you can begin moving further faster toward English mastery. So be sure to stay tuned to the end to sign up for your free session. Put a yes in the chat if you are excited about advancing your English further and faster. Put a yes in the chat if you are here today because you want to learn how to break through challenges in communication. Awesome. Put a yes in the chat if you want to build vocabulary. Great. Put a yes in the chat if you want to learn more about proper sentence structure. Put a yes in the chat if you want to get more comfortable with idioms or phrasal verbs. If I could support you with just one thing today, what would that be? What do you need help with the most? Take a moment and write something in the chat. Write something you hope to learn about English. And please, share it in the chat. Accent, vocabulary. Okay. On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not at all committed and 10 being fully committed, how committed are you to getting the help you need for this thing you need help with most? Recalling vocabulary, art of articulation. Awesome. There's Mariah from the Bronx in New York, having trouble with connectivity. Okay. The session, I'll make this session available to you after this on a recording. I'll send a recording to you. So if anybody is having troubles with connectivity, rest assured, you can review it on a recording after this day. So, okay, well, now I'd like to ask you, how do you hope that I can help you with that one thing that you just identified? Okay. What kind of results are you hoping for? And I want you to dream big. Okay. And write that in the chat. How would you like me to help you with that one thing? Awesome. I'm seeing 9, 10 for commitment. Excellent. And what can I do to help you? What is the If there was one thing that you want like me to do for you, how can I help you with that thing, with recalling vocabulary, with the art of articulation, with vocabulary, with accent? How do you want support? Talking, somebody wants to be able to talk. Okay, yeah, definitely. Okay. So now take a moment and reflect on this question. What kinds of things have you done so far in your language learning journey that have helped you to learn English? What has been most helpful for you so far? How did you learn what you already know about English? What has been most successful for you? Take a minute and write that in the chat. Somebody says watching YouTube. Okay. Yep. YouTube University, right? Social media. Yes. Movies. Yes. Absolutely. And you get culture through movies. News. Yes. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and my language learning journey. I grew up in Wisconsin in the United States. I've lived in California and now I live in Florida on my little farm with my horse and my dog and my cats. And I love teaching English online to adults from all around the world. I teach full time. I love teaching and I absolutely love my students. I have to say, I'm living the dream. I'm living my dream for sure. But it wasn't always this way. I have very humble roots growing up in a very poor family in a very small town in the Midwest. My hometown is a land of many proud Germans. Um, I am 100% German. I have a huge family with more than 30 aunts and uncles and 72 first cousins, all Germans. My great grandparents spoke no English. My grandparents spoke German and English. My parents spoke no German, but their English was very poor, and there was a lot of German influence in their speech. Their writing skills were very weak. I learned a little German when I was young. I loved learning to read and write English, but writing was not easy for me. And reading became an impossibility for me as I grew older because I had to work many hours starting at a very young age. Attending university was a luxury I could not afford. And I never thought I was college material. We were so poor. I just never thought college was in my picture. But one day I did it on a dare. Somebody told me that if I could do it, they would pay for it. So I said, "You're on." And unlike in high school, where I didn't have to study, at university, I had to study hard. To get through Shakespeare, I had to literally walk while I read my plays to keep from falling asleep and to process the language. Writing was a particular challenge, but I persisted and I ended up with a top scoring paper in my English class for English majors. I didn't know how poor my family was until I became an adult. And I didn't realize my English language learning roots until I began working with refugees in 2014. I was stuck at C1 level for a long time, but I finally had a breakthrough that bumped me to C2. And I want to say, I know how frustrating it can be when you don't have a clear path to reach your goals, and there are many towering obstacles in your way. So I want to thank you all for sharing a little bit of your stories. If we have, I see Bar is here now. If we have somebody who could share a little bit of their story, that would be great. Is there anybody out there who wants to open up their mic and share a little bit of their language learning journey? Just go ahead and open your mic and
Yeah, may I go, please?
sure.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and it's very nice to connect to this call today. Um, Lovely to see you and hear you. Just to share with you that I'm here in Pakistan. I'm working with humanitarian uh, uh, partner international NGOs. So uh, I want to do more for the refugees, for the neglected people, and I want to to go to the top of a certain level. But apart from certain challenges, the main challenge I can see that is the language barrier for me. So I'm looking for such opportunity to connect people like you and to participate in such forum that will obviously helpful for me to fluent my English and just that I can know the skills to articulate my thoughts and be more assertive and that is something that I would like to share here. That's why I'm being here. Apart from that, actually, we are like from a student, we are here to speak some local languages. So we need to learn few languages from the student life. So English was the language I started during my bachelor at university level, but as far as the reading and the comprehension, that is better. But as far as the speaking fluency, that I need to make, I mean that I need to practice and further improve my language skill in English. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so several languages, Habib, you say you are working on several languages, not just English.
No, I mean that actually in this part of world we speak many languages. So while living here, you need to learn you have to learn that. Like we have a national language, Urdu. The area where I'm living, we speak Pashto. Apart from that, there are another languages like Hindko and so like you have to know the languages that is spoken around you. So I mean that sometimes it become challenge for you to speak to learn so many languages at the same time.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's while interacting the people that become easy. But as far as the English is concerned, so we only nowadays the good thing that we access this social media, the international media, like the news channel, the movies. So that is a source of learning. But as far as the speaking practice is concerned, so we don't have the opportunity to speak with uh, with the national I mean that uh, um, the people that frequently communicate in English. I mean that the accent is totally different. Sometimes it's a challenge to catch the fast conversation even in movies. So
Okay,
yeah, I mean that yes, yeah, thank you.
awesome. Great to hear from you. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else to share a few words on the English language learning journey and maybe other languages that you're working on? Go ahead, Mariah. Oh, we can't hear you. We, Mariah, we can't hear you if you can unmute yourself. You're still muted. Your microphone is muted. Uh, I'm looking to see if I can unmute you. There
There,
we go. Yay.
there
Okay,
you go. Thank you.
there we
I'm
go.
so sorry. Oh, it's my computer. I got some problem, but thank you so much for bringing that opportunity. I'm so happy for that. I need it. Thank you for your comprehension, and I'm looking for. My name is Maria Mitchell from Dominican Republic, but I'm living in USA, Bronx, New York. So I'm caring my grandkids and them. I need to learn more English for them and for me too. I need it, believe me. So I would like co- to get more comprehension because I'm having some problem with the translators. I wanted to translate to literally, and then that's not fun, I guess. So I need to get better conversation with my grandchildren teachers, and then I need to learn more. I need to to have to to get a group like this. So I'm say thank God for to find you in the internet. I find you on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and then I'm so happy to be here and hear you and the other guy that was talking before me.
Yeah.
Thank you a lot
Mm-hmm.
for your for this resource for us. Thank you a lot.
Oh, you're welcome. So glad to hear from you. Thank you, Mariah. Maria, right?
You are
Maria.
Maria.
Maria. Thank you, Maria. Bipool. I see Bipool here. I don't know, Bipool. Can you share a few words? Do you have, are you able to open your mic?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't speak. Actually I changed my name. I was Singh.
Okay,
Yeah,
you're,
yeah, that was me. Yeah, I couldn't
okay.
speak, but I like left where I was. I could speak,
Okay.
and yeah, you can call me just bee pull, like you're pulling a bee,
Oh,
bee pull.
got you. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm like very similar to Habibullah, where like I came from Nepal, and like we speak like two or three languages just at it as it is. And like there is not much focus on the English language, but I was fortunate enough to study English since I was like very small, like 1 or 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm in Japan learning Japanese, and I found it very easy to learn by watching or like doing things that I love. For example, watching movies, like maybe talking to my friends, yeah, things like that. Yeah, that's it.
So you're learning Japanese by doing things you love. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I do work here too, so I do have to speak Japanese,
Okay.
and that's actually helped me learn Japanese. And I
Okay.
think the main thing that helped me is getting out of my comfort zone and actually like talking to people.
Ah, yes. Getting out of the comfort zone is key. Yeah. Not easy to do to push yourself into that uncomfortable area, but that
Yep,
is key.
it's not.
Yeah, that is key.
Yep,
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
thank you.
So thanks to all of you for sharing your fascinating stories. Put a yes in the chat if you can identify with some of the stories we've heard today. Put a yes in the chat if you've ever felt the pain of isolation or frustration in trying to communicate in English. Do you know that it takes an average of 1,200 to 1,600 hours to reach English mastery? Did you know that most people never reach level C2, the highest level of mastery? Raise your hand if you're familiar with CEFR and the levels of English, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Write CEFR in the chat if you're familiar with that Common European Framework reference. Maybe maybe you're not familiar with that. It's the global framework for determining levels of English skill. Starts with A1 and the highest level is C2.
I think I am immediately label, I guess, the second level.
Okay, you're at the second level
Yeah,
in
yes,
B1.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you know your CEFR level, go ahead and put that in the chat. And also if you have a goal, an aim, are you aiming for C2? Are you aiming for C1? What is it you're aiming for? If you could put that aim and the level that you're aiming for. Some people just feel like they don't want to go as high as level C2. They don't want to do a TED talk or something like that, but let me know what level you want to reach. Put a yes in the chat if you're committed to a lifelong journey in English. Awesome. I see. Okay. Some say C2, some say B. Okay. Pop a yes in the chat if you want to know what you can do to break through to the next level in your English language learning journey. Did you know that the most efficient route to learning English, do you know what it is? Let's see, can we see hands? Raise your hand if you think you know the most efficient route to learning English. And if you know it, we'll go ahead and write it in the chat. Before the session is over today, I'm going to share a little secret that I learned about learning English through my teaching regarding the best way to learn how to quickly become conversationally fluent. So stay to the end to find out. But for now, I'd like to take a few moments and write a few words in the chat answering this question. What do you think is the most efficient way to learn English? So what has been most effective for you? And how do you best learn English? Some say they need a book. Some say speaking. There's a lot of different ideas on what is the best way to learn the language. So what do we see? Listening and watching movies. Did you know that listening is the first pillar for creating your personal pathway to success? Immersing yourself in English and noticing details is critical for improvement. It's like swimming in an ocean of English. That's your first step. And just as babies, we learn by listening. Babies listen for a whole year before they ever say a single word. And as you become more and more advanced, you continue to listen for ever greater detail. And noticing that detail is the first step toward learning. Those of you who want to improve accent, listening is so critical. Take a moment and write in the chat, name something you listened to recently. What did you hear? Maybe you heard something important today that resonated with you. Write a word or a couple of words about something important that you learned or noticed today through listening. Listening is key. Absolutely. And that brings us to the second pillar. The second pillar is speaking. Babies repeat what they hear. That first year, before they're even making words, They're making sounds. They're repeating all the sounds that they hear. We too learn best when we repeat what we hear. Did you know that if you simply repeat what you hear as you're learning, you improve your recall and retention rate by as much as 20 to 50%? Shadowing. Shadowing is the act of repeating or reading out loud as you listen to a story being read. It engages multisensory brain channels, and it creates this feedback loop where you self-monitor. Noticing how your speech sounds in comparison to the speaker helps you to improve your pronunciation, your rhythm, your intonation, and this leads to greater fluidity and automaticity. You learn faster by repeating, and reading takes you further as you expose yourself to more contexts for usage, and you gain more content knowledge too. So let's try it with the word automaticity. I've used this word automaticity. I'll put it in the chat for you, automaticity. There it is, automaticity. Is a tricky word even for native speakers. So you might see the word automatic in it, right? You might see the word city in it, or you might see the word auto in it. It's a 6-syllable word, and we emphasize the 4th syllable, automaticity. Okay, 6 syllables with the emphasis on the 4th. And if you think of the word electricity, you can think more easily of how to pronounce this word. Electricity has 5 syllables, and we emphasize the 3rd, electricity. So electricity, automaticity, they sound similar, right? You want words to become automatic. So try this with me. Hold up your hands and make fists. We're going to say the word automaticity. Go ahead and open up your chat if you can open up your chat so that I can hear you. We're going to work on this word, and we do it 10 times. And by the 10th time, you will have burned it in your brain. So, okay, good job, Maria. So automaticity. Okay, here we go. 10 times with automaticity. Get your hands up in the air, make some fists. Automaticity. Say it with me. Automaticity. 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 Yeah, automaticity. Sparkle fingers for learning a new word. Automaticity. The more you say words out loud, the more quickly they become automatic responses. Think of listening as swimming in English. The words are all around you, and you get covered in language. It completely surrounds you, and you naturally begin to absorb it. It becomes a part of you. Hear it, feel it, repeat what you hear. At the beginning, it might not even sound like actual words that you're saying, but eventually, without a doubt, you'll be able to express complex ideas. I'm learning Spanish, and when I read along to a story I've never heard or read before, my words sometimes sound like blah, 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 incomprehensible. But each time I repeat a sentence, it begins to sound a little closer to the target, and pretty soon I'm mirroring the speaker. Maybe, by the 5th time through the sentence, I'm starting to sound almost identical to the speaker, and by the 10th time, I have it. So pop a yes in the chat if you'd like to respond and think in English with greater automaticity. Sign up for a free introductory one-to-one session with me. I will help you swim in English. How many of you like to read? Can we see a show of hands or pop a yes in the chat if you like to read? I'd like to know what kind of things you've been reading lately. Write it in the chat. What do you read in English? Do you read books? Do you read newspapers, magazines, reports, or emails at work? Maybe song lyrics, novels, fiction, nonfiction. Can you name a story that you've read in English? Okay, news articles, Habib, news articles. Did you know that linguists' research shows that reading is the most efficient way to improve your English? Reading is the third pillar for creating your personal pathway to success. When you read, you expose yourself to context. Learning languages through stories and through content that you really connect with in a personal way is the best way to boost your vocabulary and get that sense of intuitively knowing how the language works. If you can, post your favorite story in the chat. One of my all-time favorite stories is The Wizard of Oz. I also love the story The Notebook and the classic love story Tristan and Isolde, which is kind of like the first Romeo and Juliet. So if we can see those, maybe some titles, some stories that you know, favorite stories, maybe not even in English, but maybe in your first language or another language. Maybe you have a story from another language that you love. If you can post those in the chat, that would be great. Today, I want to share a reading with you. Oh, I forgot to say too, with that CEFR, with the levels of CEFR, I shared an email with all of you, and it has the CEFR grid. Let's see if I share my screen with you, I can show you what that looks like. Like this. This CEFR grid is this right here. And so you can see where you are in it. We've got the listening, the reading, speaking is in 2 different groups, and then writing. Okay, and so it starts from A1 and progresses on over to the C2 level. And so you can look on here and find yourself, where are you in each of these domains? Okay, so that's a resource for you. And then also in this email that I shared with you, there's this reading that I'm going to share with you here now. This is the story. If you want to take a second here and look and see if you can see in your email, if you've received this email with documents. If you don't, that's okay, because I'm going to share my screen with you. But what we have here, what we're going to take a look at today is a reading, a story from a polyglot. I'm going to put that word in the chat, polyglot. Do you know the word polyglot? Polyglot, polyglot. One who knows many languages. Poly is a prefix that means many, and glot is Latin, I think, possibly German, for tongue. So many tongues, many languages. And technically, to be a polyglot, it's 3 languages. A person can use 3 languages well. And perhaps maybe even knows more, maybe isn't completely bilingual, or you know, maybe isn't able to, maybe they can read a 4th language, but they can't necessarily speak it. But 3 languages that they can use very well, and then perhaps even more. So that's a polyglot, and we're going to hear a polyglot story. As I said, I'll share my screen with you. Give me 1 second. Share my screen. The reading that I shared with you in the document, in the email that I mailed to you. Here's that reading I'm talking about. It has this reading broken down into A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. So if you, when you take a look at that document, if you can find the level that's comfortable for you, okay, you'll see it, it's clearly identified what level the reading is. And then mark on there which one is a good challenge for you. Let me know in the chat or send to me in an email afterwards which reading is most comfortable for you. And, you know, maybe identify words that are new for you in that reading. Mark any and all that are new for you or words that you're unsure of how to pronounce. Okay. And at the very end, after all of those different levels of the same reading, there's another version of it, which we're going to read today. And that's the version that Luca Lampariello from Italy shares personally himself. There's a link for you there also to listen to him tell his own story. So here it is. When I tell people that I speak 13 languages, they often think that as a polyglot, learning languages is all I do with my time. They're convinced that I spend the majority of each day studying and that I have little time for anything else, including friends, dating, travel, and other free time activities. This is definitely not the case. In fact, the reality is quite the opposite. I rarely spend more than an hour a day studying any individual language, even the ones I've just started. I do spend a lot of time learning, of course, but I don't do it with my face buried in textbooks, nor do I do it at the expense of living a full life. Instead, I make choices that help me connect the languages I learn with the life I want to live and the people I want to spend my time with. He says you can maximize learning time through smart and efficient scheduling. Link your languages to your lifestyle. Do what you love, but do it in your target language. Form a strong connection with a native speaker. Start living like a polyglot. He goes on to say that while most assume that all polyglots are either shut-ins who spend 8 hours a day studying or rich people that do nothing but travel and take language courses, the reality is quite different and much more accessible to the average person. So this is the handout that you'll see in your email to you. If I open it, let me share a different screen. There it is, I believe. Yes. So here, this is the reading that I just went through. Here it is at the A1 level, at the A2 level, at the B1 level, at the B2 level, at the C1 level, and at the C2 level. And then here it is, the version that I shared with you just now. And at the bottom of it is the link to hear Luca himself share his story. So that's for you in the document that I have emailed to you. As I said, if you haven't received that, please let me know. You can put your email in the chat if you haven't received it. If you put your email in the chat, if you haven't received that document yet, put your email in the chat and I'll make sure that you get it. So pop a yes in the chat if you want to link your language to your lifestyle and do what you love in English. I heard a little bit of Beepul's story in there as I was reading it, because he said that he's learning Japanese by doing things that he loves. And that is fantastic. That's the key. Pop a yes in the chat if you would like to form a strong connection with a native speaker. I can be that person for you. Pop a yes in the chat if you want to start living like a polyglot. If you're interested in hearing Luca tell his story personally, definitely check out that link. There's some additional resources there too on that link that it's his website. Interesting website. So take a minute now and write in the chat all the languages that you know. Okay, so like Habib, you had mentioned Urdu and Pashto and Himpul. Beepul, you mentioned, of course, Japanese, and you said you're from Nepal. So Mariah, you said you're from the Dominican Republic. If you could share all the languages you know, post those languages in the chat. I'd be very curious to see all the languages we know. Arabic and English, great, yes. I have students from all around the world, so I'm exposed to Russian and French and German and Portuguese and Italian and I've had Chinese students, I've had Japanese students, I've had students from Egypt, I've had students from Vietnam, I've had students from Nepal and Pakistan, Mexico. I've had students from all around the world, so I've been exposed to so many different languages, and I just love everyone. I love to learn all these languages. How about writers in this group? Can we see an indicator in the chat? If you're a writer, if you consider yourself a writer, maybe you write, maybe not in English, but maybe in in another language, maybe your first language. Have you ever dreamed of writing a book? Put a yes in the chat if this is a dream that you have. I have to say, I'm super proud to be publishing my first book at this time this year. I'm hoping it's going to be on the shelves by Christmas. I'm publishing my poetry book for the first time. I've published articles in news journals and magazines, but this will be my actual first book that I'm publishing. And once my poetry book is out, then I plan to do a book for language learning. On the order of a grammar book, but stories of learning English and with some grammar. So writing is the fourth pillar. Awesome. Somebody, Habib, a short stories writer. Excellent. Yeah, writing is the fourth pillar. A lot of people think they can skip this aspect when they're developing their communication skills. They say they don't need to write for their job. Or they say that the only thing they have to do is write short emails. Many people prefer to focus on their speaking and grammar. Pop a yes in the chat if you've ever put writing aside. Did you know writing is the best way to improve your grammar? When you write, you must commit to a particular word choice and the order of words. When you have someone look at your writing, you notice the patterns of errors much more quickly than you can notice these errors. And once you notice those errors, in your writing, you can quickly notice them in your speaking as well. So the improvement through your writing translates into improvement in your speaking. So take a moment now and write 1 or 2 sentences of your takeaways from this session today. What discoveries have you made about learning English or about yourself or about your language learning journey? What are some things you've learned in our session so far today? Listening, speaking, reading, and writing are the 4 pillars that are the keys to success in mastering English. Each one strengthens the other. It is important to develop all of them. So today I'm inviting you to join me for a free introductory session to rocket launch your language learning. We'll get you on the fast track to major breakthroughs in your language learning, and I'll help you to stay focused and motivated, and I will help make your language learning easy and fun too. If you've ever struggled with being stuck or feeling afraid to make mistakes or worrying about what other people are going to think, you're not alone. When I was learning French at the university, I was frozen with fear whenever I was called on to speak. I dreaded being called on by the professor. I would panic and not a single French word would come to mind. The harder I tried, the fewer words I could recall. My panic and fear and lack of confidence was freezing out my memory. And even though I knew the words, my brain could not access them because of my panic. So relaxing, this is the first step. And remember, you will not die from not knowing the right word in the moment. Most people are kind and understanding and will help you find your way through the language. And just as babies fall again and again when learning to walk, we must make lots of mistakes in order to learn a language. And the faster we make those mistakes, the faster we learn. Like B. Poole said, we have to put ourselves in that uncomfortable space. I'm committed to helping you achieve your language learning goals and to achieve things you never thought were possible. So I'm going to put a link to my website where you can access my calendar and you can sign up today for this free one-to-one 30-minute introductory session. Okay. Let me see. I'll put this in the chat. Okay. There it is in the chat. So you can you can click this link. It's not sending it into the chat. I've put it in the chat, but it's not going. Okay, I'm going to share it in a different way. Let me put it in an email and share my screen. Okay, there it is. I tried to put it in the chat and it won't go for some reason. I don't know why it won't send into the chat. But this is the link. It's also in the email that I sent to you. The link is in the website. The link to the website is in the email that I shared with you with the documents. And you have till September 30th to sign up for your free 30-minute session with me. When you click on that link, it puts you in my calendar. And my calendar is in Eastern time in the United States, like the same time as New York. If you are not in Eastern time, you should be able to select your own time zone. But it's so that you can schedule it in your own time zone. But you have to make sure that your computer settings are already connected to your time zone. Like for instance, if most of your computer knows what time zone you're in, but some people who travel a lot, they forget what setting they've left their computer on. So make sure that your computer is in the time zone that you are in, and if that's the case, you should be able to select your own time zone to schedule with me in your own time zone. So yeah, I encourage you to take that opportunity and sign up for that free introductory session. Enter the code 4pillars. If I can put that in the chat, 4pillars, that's the code to enter to get the free session. I'm not seeing that in the chat either. I don't know why I'm not. Aha. There we go. Okay. Okay. Now I see why it wasn't going. Okay. So I'm going to put these links in the chat so that you can click. Sorry. There we go. That's the link that I want you to have. And that'll put you into my calendar. Like I said, you can select your own time zone, and I encourage you to schedule that meeting. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed by the number of hours it takes to achieve mastery. Pop a yes in the chat if you sometimes feel overwhelmed by the time it takes to advance your skills. Remember, with my approach, you'll double up, just as Luca recommends, and you'll use English to achieve other goals in your work life or personal life at the same time. In the long run, the time invested in English now will pay off in greater rewards down the road. When you master English, you'll see job promotions and new doors will open, and life just becomes easier when you have command of a global language like English. So earlier today, I mentioned that I would share a little secret with you that I learned from one of my students about how to quickly become conversationally fluent. This is the story of how my old Chinese student, among all the old Russians, became conversational the fastest. And here's how he did it. I had, when I was working on my master's degree in teaching English, I was teaching a group of students in Madison, Wisconsin, and they were mostly Russians. They were mostly very well-educated scientists who had spent their life working in Russia, but because of the Chernobyl accident, were forced to leave. And so they were here in the United States, and they were maybe in their 60s and 70s and 80s at this point. And they had learned English through school, it was required to learn English as Russian students. And like I said, these were very well-educated people. So they had learned a high level of English, but they could not, for the life of them, they could not understand the native speakers, and they could not produce the language when they wanted to express themselves. And they were so frustrated with their inability to get through little conversations at the checkout at the grocery store, or, you know, if anybody just, while they were walking, if anybody asked them a question, they would just, you know, like me in my French class, they would panic and never, all the English would just fly away from them. And so I was helping them with that. And I had a small group of Chinese students in there as well, along with these Russian students. And one guy joined us. We had been meeting for quite a while, and a new guy came into the class from China, and he looked young, but he was in his 60s, and his English was pretty darn good. And so I had asked him, you know, how long had he been learning English and how had he been learning English? And like the Russians, he had learned some of it in school. But he had only been learning it for 3 months when he had entered our class. And he was the best learner of all. And I asked him, how are you making such great progress? You know? And he said, I get on the bus. He said he would get on the bus in the morning, no idea where he was going to go, no agenda, no plan. He would just ride the bus wherever it would take him. Whatever bus pulled up, he would get on and he would go, and he would just talk to anybody who would talk to him. He would ask questions, and he would listen to all the conversations he heard going around where he sat. He would talk with the bus driver. He would talk with the people waiting at the bus stop. And he just loved to engage with the people. And like I said, he had no agenda as to where he would go. He would just ride around all day long, get on one bus and then the next and then the next and then the next. But by the end of the day, he would have to get back to where he started from. And he would have to rely on the help of the bus driver and all the other people to provide directions for him to get back. And every day he always got back. He always got back. And this idea of putting yourself into that zone of discomfort, just that little bit of, you know, uncomfortable uncertainty, you know, it takes a lot of courage, but this is what it takes. So, you know, I'm curious, you know, do you have the courage to get on the bus? Pop a yes in the chat if you think you have the courage to get on the bus. Yeah, getting on the bus is key. It's not always easy. I don't know if I would have the courage to get on the bus in the middle of Beijing without a word of Chinese. I know ni hao. Yes, I know ni hao and I know xie xie, but I don't know if that would get me back home after riding 8 hours on a bus. But it's definitely an effective way to learn a language. So, okay, I'm hearing that some people may be worried or wondering about the cost. So if you're worried or wondering about the cost in getting support in your language learning journey, let me share this. One of my more recent younger students from Russia started taking lessons with me before she arrived in the US. And when we first began meeting, she couldn't have a conversation. She, like all those older Russian students that I told you about, she also learned English all through her years of study in Russia, but she couldn't speak, she couldn't converse. And she would read sentences from a novel, and she would ask about words she didn't know. Okay, that's how we started with our lessons. And eventually, she no longer needed the book to generate ideas, and she became conversational. So leaving Russia behind, she also left behind a very high-paying career as an accountant. And she never thought she could do this kind of work in the US. She was certain that it would not be a possibility. But I assured her that it was possible. I set her up with QuickBooks, and we used this as material for her English lessons. She was really scared to interview, especially on the phone. But again, with my coaching, she conquered this fear, and soon she had nailed a job interview and landed a dream job as an accountant here in the United States, in Orlando. I helped her with the language of the contract when she had questions, and soon she was working full-time, happy as could be. She had gone from a deer in the headlights, frozen with fear, afraid and unable to speak when we had our first lesson, to eventually telling funny stories and laughing and crying out loud about all the crazy things life brings. She said lessons with me were like therapy. And now she's ready for the next step in her journey, asking for a raise. So pop a yes in the chat if sometimes you could use a cheerleader or a therapist who will help support you through to your victory that you never imagined possible. One of the things we can also do is set up a GoFundMe page for you. It can be a writing lesson for you, and you might be pleasantly surprised to find that there are plenty of people out there who are willing to give you a hand with this expense. But if not, keep in mind that it's only a matter of time before your English language skill will start paying off financially. You can look at the cost more as an investment that has a high ROI, right? ROI, rate of return, right? Return on investment. So pop a yes in the chat if you can see how there will be a high ROI on your investment in learning English. The other thing that might help you is to join a cohort. You could join in an upcoming cohort in an 8-week session that will get you a group rate, and you'll have the added benefit of a conversation partner in the cohort. So if this interests you, I'm happy to tell you more about it when you sign up for your free session. I'm committed to helping you reach your highest goals. It is time for you to dream big. So join me for that free one-to-one introductory session where we'll do a quick assessment and we'll map out a plan for launching you to the next level. My calendar is open for all of you who are here today to join me in that free one-to-one introductory English lesson. No obligations, no cost at all, just a free one-to-one consultation where you'll be able to get a feel for what my program can do for you and see if we'd be a good fit for working together to help you go further and faster in your English language learning journey. So remember, click that link and enter the code 4PILLARS. The deadline is September 30th, and spots do fill up fast. I am serious about helping you achieve your dreams. I get super excited to see all the great things my students do. This is my heartfelt promise to you that if you make the first step in joining me for a one-to-one free intro session, you will see the value in investing in yourself. Your future is up to you. You create the life you want to live. And the first step in moving toward English mastery is to simply schedule your first free introductory session. Click the link to sign up now. The code for your free personal introductory one-to-one session is 4PILLARS. People who have done lessons with me are doing amazing things today. So become one of them. Claim your spot today. Let me know what questions you have.
Yeah, Lauren, thank you so much for this very nice session, and certainly I am look forward to sign up for that free session and further discuss with you. Yeah, obviously that will be a great opportunity to connect me to the right form. But just a quick follow-up, you will connect to some regular classes, or you talk about the cohort. So these are the regular classes offered by other institutes, or something like If you can please elaborate further these.
Sure. It's my program. I walk you through the levels of English as I showed you on the CEFR chart, that grid. We have a progressive path to getting to C2. I do use grammar books. I would recommend a grammar book. Is it possible to reach C2 without a grammar book? I haven't seen it done. I haven't seen it done. I even study grammar, right? I mean, I studied a lot of grammar, English grammar. And I continue to study English grammar. And like I said, writing, once you get through the basic grammar, then you're moving into rhetoric, right? The art of persuasion, logic. There's no end to the level of advancement, right? So one of the books that I like to use, I don't know if you can see it, but this is one of the books that I like to use. It's English Grammar in Use. This is the B level version. For all the books that I've looked at, this is the best for American English. I might use a book for phrasals. I might use a book for collocations or idioms. I have exercises. I have a vault of language learning materials that is pretty much endless. And so what I like to do is a student-centered approach and focus on what it is that you need. And generally I go with the greatest need, what what is the most glaring weakness, right? So by doing regular assessments, we see where our weaknesses are and we target our weaknesses, and we focus by doing exercises that target those weaknesses. And that's how we get you there. And like I said, connecting to those really personal things that are important to us, connecting to your goals, connecting to your interests, connecting to your hobbies, through readings and activities. This is the way to get you to be very efficient and move to that next level very quickly. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Lauren.
I should say too, there's if you join the cohort or if you take lessons with me, I have a group that you would join, a Facebook group, which puts you in connection with other people who are also learning English, and you can always reach out to them for conversation, for practicing, and there's all kinds of materials that get posted in that group page. It's a private group page for those who join sessions with me. And like I said, it's an endless, limitless vault of materials for advancing English. So
I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yes, I'd be happy to answer it.
I'm not sure what my English level is.
Okay. Did you receive the email? Do you know if you received the email? It was sent to you this morning around 11 a.m. Eastern time. It was sent right around the time that this session was starting today. So if you haven't
I have received it.
if you haven't checked your email since we started this session, it should be in your inbox, and it will have this grid with the levels, and you should be able to identify your level on there. And also, if you sign up for that free session with me, we'll do a quick assessment to help identify where you are. A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. And some people are, some people their listening is better, or their speaking is better than their writing, for instance, or their reading is their highest level, but their other aspects are lower. So you can be at different places in the different domains. But do you see that grid that I had referred to? Can you see it in your email?
Yes. I think I can relate to C2. Yes.
Yeah, you think you're there at C2
Um,
across the
yes.
board, or would you say are you at C2 with all of your skills for reading, writing, speaking, and listening?
Maybe not speaking.
I mean, right now you're speaking very clearly and articulately, and but to be able to take a topic, if we threw a topic at you, can you speak uninterrupted fluently for a few minutes on that topic? That would be the
I think
C2.
I would pause for a bit or take some time to think about the word that I want to use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so well, we could definitely do some, some further testing, and then like I said, there's no limit to the advancement in English through rhetoric, and maybe you're ready to study poetry, maybe you're ready to study logic, maybe you're ready to study maybe you're ready to start publishing. Maybe you're ready to start doing presentations on a global scale. Maybe you're ready to, to do your TED Talk, reach the world. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. So if there are any other questions, I'm happy to address any questions. Let me know. But it's 12:20 here, so I realize people have places to be, things to do, right? People to see. I will look forward to meeting with you in a free private one-to-one session. And with that, I say have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.